All right, welcome back on the Lake Sports Show. A lot of football happened today. A bunch of news. And I think we got to start with the Browns, who, I know this is a lame Giants team, didn't have your offensive coordinator, no Daniel Jones, no Saquon Barkley, but you took care of business. You controlled the whole game, and you won. I'm happy. Hey, you guys have any thoughts?
Frank, you probably should go. I didn't get to watch this game.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't really pay attention to it that much, but I saw the fake field goal and
Yeah.
going for it like what was a 4th and goal, I think. I mean, Giants felt a little desperate, but I mean, like Collinsworth said, they were doing things because they didn't really have preparation due to their like coordinator and stuff. But I mean, give credit to where credit's due to the Browns. They held them. They did their job and they won. It's not like a win that's gonna wow me. Like it's just
You
they
just
did what
did
they
your
were supposed
job.
to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you did what you're supposed to do.
It was like we had two 95-yard drives this game for touchdowns. Baker looked phenomenal. I think he missed like one throw all night. So
Yeah, I was gonna
Really?
say that was gonna be my next thing. I was gonna say Baker looked good, but from a Giants standpoint, why were they playing so far off the receivers the whole game?
you can't play a soft zone against Baker. He's so much better when you're just letting him sit back there and when you just have zone all over the field and he just
I
pick you
know,
up.
yeah.
Especially
He
since
picked
he
them
just
apart.
throws so hard. So I'm
Yeah.
happy. I'm still really
I
nervous.
saw one.
You
I
go.
saw one drive. It was the Giants drive. I think it was at that point 7-3, and they had a really nice drive. They got all the way down the field, and then I missed the other. I missed what happened, but I mean they obviously didn't score there.
They went
But
for it.
they went for it on 4th.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the little bit that I did see, I thought Baker throwing some pretty good passes. I saw that first touchdown to Hooper. I think it was a Hooper.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
I
think
saw
so,
that,
yeah.
but yeah, Baker
No, it
looked
was.
pretty good.
Yeah.
So
It was just like a great game. We held them to 6 points, scored 20. We were just both teams just had a lot of possession. It's a really fast game. Whole thing only took it's under 3 hours right now. So
yeah, it was a quick game. Yeah.
there's not a lot to talk about. The only thing I can really think of is the Browns. The perfect season for the Browns is they're going to win against the Jets, lose to the Steelers, and miss the playoffs. That would about sum up the season where everything goes perfectly. You go 11-5 and still miss the playoffs with an extra team this year. So
Is that the likely scenario
it's
at this point, or
we have like a 98%. Well, if everyone keeps winning, we're odd man out.
Yeah, but if you keep winning, you're in.
Head?
What'd you say?
Is it just because of head-to-head then?
I don't even know what it is. Because the Ravens have head-to-head over us, but we beat the Colts, so I don't know.
No, I'm pretty sure it goes. Well, first off, if you win out, you're in. Like no one's gonna say anything about that.
Yeah.
Because you can't. Like you're automatically in. Second off, I think the tiebreaker goes to conference record. And then I could be wrong here. It's either division or strength of schedule. It's something weird like that. But I know, so the Colts probably have a better conference record than you, even though it's I don't know.
Well, if we win next week in I think this was if the Colts, Ravens, or Dolphins lose next week, I think we clinch. So we win. No, I think we win and one of them loses now. So, just keep winning. You have the Jets next week where you should win unless you pull Rams. That game was pathetic. But
that was rough.
I'm excited. So playoffs.
So
the playoffs are close.
It's Bengals and then Steelers left for them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I need a huge game for my one fantasy league from the Bengals offense. Just can't let the Steelers just put up points. Up by 7. Steelers defense is all he has. So
you're up by 7 right now?
Up by 7. He just has the Steelers.
He just has the Steelers defense?
Yes.
Okay.
That's a toss-up. Either I think the Steelers can get 7 against the Bengals defense, unfortunately. Yeah. So it's It's crappy.
Yeah. Wait. I'm sorry. He's playing the Steelers. He's starting the Steelers defense in his
Yeah.
defensive spot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bengals
That's gonna be.
stink.
I was gonna say I think the only way it's close is if it's low scoring anyway. So.
Yeah.
Before we go into college football, big Steelers game tomorrow. You could help us out beating the Colts. I know, Frank, you were saying you're pretty confident. A couple days past, how are you still feeling now?
You mean next week? Next week we play the Colts.
Bengals tomorrow.
Bengals
tomorrow. Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
You should be very confident.
Yeah. I'm not too worried about. I think we for once need this game just to get back on track and shut everybody up, because if we lose this game, then it's really time to start opening some eyes. But yeah, I think we're gonna, like I said in previous shows, I think we're gonna win this week, and I think we're gonna win next week, and I know next week's the Colts, and people are like. I'm like, relax. I was like, we own Phillip Rivers, so we'll be all right with him. But yeah, I'm not worried. And I said, I think in one of the shows I was wrong about the one game, but I said we were going to finish 14-2, but I thought we would lose to the Ravens. But obviously, things the whole COVID thing changed that. And I said Ravens and Bills, but we lost the football team and Bills, so it is what it is.
Yeah. All right. So that's NFL. Nothing really else crazy happened. Jalen Hurts played well today, but besides that,
they cannot. I saw a thing. I know Carson Wentz is pissed off, but you can't make that switch right now. You cannot make that switch right now.
No, Jalen Hurts is looking very good.
Yeah, that stat was first quarterback for Eagles since Michael Vick to have two passing, one rushing touchdown in a game. So. I like them.
Definitely. I think that's about it. So,
what about the Fins? Last thing. Well, I'm sorry. One last thing. The Fins.
Buried your Patriots.
The Fins. I think. Thank God. It's gonna be nice not to see Bill Belichick in the playoffs, but I think I'd become.
It's 2008.
I think honestly, the whole. I think my hatred was just strictly Tom Brady, because I think Bill Belichick is actually an amazing coach. Look what he's doing with that team. But it's still Tom Brady. So
well, and look what Tom did today, man. Freaking Falcons. Oh,
dude. I saw that coming. I saw 17-0, and I was like, dude, he's gonna come back and win this game. The Falcons they need to change their name. Matty Ice, he needs a new nickname because he's a choker.
Yeah,
and that's that.
That one was so bad. I didn't even watch. I just saw, I was like, 14-0. Falcons are gonna bring it on them. And then I was just watching the Browns game, and at halftime they were doing each game update, and I was like, wait, they lost? What even happened? Yeah. And then you just always remember, oh yeah, it's the Falcons.
That's bad, dude. How does that keep happening?
Them and the Chargers, it makes no sense.
Curse. No sense. It's a curse.
Yeah.
Name change. You need a freaking name change.
Something.
Relocation.
Yeah. All right, so college football playoffs got announced. We had our championship games yesterday. So, Luke, I'm going to start with you. Do you think the committee got it right with these 4 teams?
Yeah, I'll guess. I guess so. I think the reason why they got it right is because they pretty much established it early on, and they kind of pretty much the last couple weeks what they had. Pretty much what they were gonna, have for the final one. So I'm okay with it on that regard. I don't know if necessarily it was the fair or right call, but I think at least people can say they stuck to what they were saying all year long. They didn't flip flop at the end and say, well, Notre Dame lost, so we're gonna kick them out. So I at least am okay with that. Wasn't really shocked at all. So
no. What about
a couple other picks choices?
Oklahoma. That's what I was going to go with next.
Oh, and I said that. I told you, man. There's something. The playoff committee has something for Oklahoma, and even Georgia. But I think especially for Oklahoma, I think that whole thing was by design. They were like, we're going to put Iowa State at 6, hoping that Oklahoma wins, so that we can just throw Oklahoma as far up as we can because that was, I mean, that's, I don't know.
Yeah.
I honestly, this is a one time I feel bad for Cincinnati all year long. I mean, that's, at least put them at 6. Jeez.
Yeah, I know. I agree with you. I think the committee got it right. Bama's got to be 1, and Clemson's 2. They got the win over Notre Dame, looked very dominant. And then us 3 because we're undefeated. And Notre Dame, it was between Notre Dame and Texas A&M, really, even though I've been trying to rally for Cincinnati all year. You had to put Notre Dame 4, and they had better wins than Texas A&M. And they've just been a better team all year than A&M. And A&M already lost to 28 to Alabama. So maybe Notre Dame, even though I think they're probably going to go lose by 30 to Alabama, give them a chance.
Probably.
Maybe they show up or something. I don't know. But that's the whole argument of why I want Cincy in anyways. We just saw Notre Dame lose by nearly 30 to a playoff team. So they've shown they can't beat a playoff team. Yeah. Maybe I don't think Cincy can either, but why not give them a shot? Frank?
All right, a couple things. Just committee got it right, even though I don't like it. I wanted Texas A&M, especially the fact that how bad Notre Dame played on Saturday. So I kind of wanted Texas A&M, but I mean, you couldn't do that. The whole Alabama thing getting smacked, I'm like, okay, but they got smacked by Clemson, which, hold on, if we go back to the last show, I don't know what it was. I said that Clemson was going to smack them because Trevor Lawrence, huge difference. And you guys were like, nah, that dude's really good. And he is really good, but Trevor Lawrence is in a league of his own. And yes, Notre Dame didn't play that good, but I mean, hey, you can't, it doesn't lie.
I think it was the 4 defenders being back for Clemson that made the much bigger difference, giving up only 10 instead of 40, whatever. And
okay, that's true.
Clemson's offense looked good, but it looked just as good last game, and ETN didn't turn it over for him. That's the big difference.
That's true, I guess. But Trevor Lawrence psychology thing, who knows? I mean, you never know.
I agree.
Second thing
with that,
is,
actually.
Luke, I kind of disagree with you on the Oklahoma thing because you said you thought in the show that they could slip in the playoffs if they won. Well, they didn't slip in the playoffs. They're 6, right?
Yeah.
And going into the week, what was Iowa State, 6?
Yeah, they just flipped them.
So they just flipped them. So I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I think I was being a little bit funny when I said they could sneak into the playoffs, but I was serious about the fact that I think they really do love Oklahoma, and that was just the excuse to just slide them up as far as they could. But I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I get that, but I mean, I definitely get that, and I know you probably weren't being serious. But here's my point to that is the whole going, and this relates to Cincinnati. Last week I had my top 10. I think I had Cincy at 6 and Oklahoma at 7, or Iowa State 7, Oklahoma 8, or something like that. But I mean, what the committee showed was basically they don't have respect for the Cincinnatis and the Coastals and stuff like that. And so basically, I'm perfectly fine with it. And I think if Iowa State won, I think it's the same thing. Like Iowa State 6. So I don't think it's more the committee riding Oklahoma. I think it's just the committee riding the bigger conferences.
Well, the only thing that too, this would be, if I'm not mistaken, this is the first year for the playoffs that it's not all conference champions, right? Well, I mean, because Notre Dame wasn't in a conference before, but they were undefeated.
No, they've had it a couple times.
Yeah, I was gonna say Georgia and Alabama were in it.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Georgia.
I'm totally wrong.
I was gonna say, didn't Ohio State make it one year?
Yeah, and then I wish we didn't.
Yeah. I'm sorry. That was bad. But that was interesting to me because I know everyone was talking about I think that was their criteria before is we look for the conference champions, but I don't know. I think the bottom line is it's just got to be more teams. I mean that's it. It's just
I think everyone agrees with that.
Yeah, I think everybody agrees, and it's easy. Every conference champ, Power 5 champ, gets a bid.
My thing is though, do you really think the Pac-12 deserves one at this point? I mean, they've been horrible. Yeah, that would be Oregon making the playoffs this year.
And then that's
Oregon deserving.
Yeah, because what was it? USC. They weren't even supposed to play Oregon. So
No,
Okay, but
Oregon
like,
shouldn't
all
be
right,
in.
if you get a normal year though, and the teams play 11 games, I think it's a different story a little bit too. But
well,
Oregon struggled all year.
Normal year too. This year, Ohio State was supposed to play Oregon that first game.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, yeah,
if Ohio State wins or if Oregon wins that first, game, that's pretty big. So
I think it could be like the top 5 like conference championship winners with like an asterisk like inside the top 15 or something like that, where there's a clause of you can knock out, like, say you don't want a number 24 Oregon in the playoffs type of deal.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, I get that.
But
I think the bulk. I think they're gonna get hate if Ohio State loses and they lose bad, because they're gonna be like, you just let a 6-win team in, and like Texas A&M 10-1 or whatever. And I get their schedule sucked, but I mean, if you look at Ohio State, it's like the same thing, kind of like schedule wise, like opponent wise, maybe not the same thing. Maybe Ohio State's a little better. I don't know. I didn't read
think
them like
the biggest thing with that is, yeah, Texas A&M played more games. We still managed to play more ranked games with less games. So like, in a full season, we get to play divisions and stuff. And the Big Ten was
I'm not
down
saying
first.
like
Yeah.
Ohio State did what they had to do. They won. Like, they're undefeated. You have to put them in. I mean, they were, even if they played their full season, they were still going to be there at the end of the season. But just the fact that, like, if they do lose, you look at the other teams, they have more games, and like I do kind of get. I mean, they shouldn't have lost, but like I get, and like I am not saying Florida should be in, but like I get what they were saying. Like, I saw a lot of reporters saying like that's why these games matter. Like, that's why playing an 11-game schedule matters, because you run into an LSU and like a fluke happens, but it can happen. It's college football. It's football.
Yeah.
Like, anything can happen.
And here's I have two things. I understand Texas A&M's gripes. I mean, that sucks that you won all your games and you lost to the number 1 team. It's like that kind of sucks, where it's like that is you're in the SEC and that's what you have to go through. And I get what they're saying, where Ohio State doesn't have to do that. They're not playing the number 1 team. I totally understand that. But that's just how it goes. And my other thing, real quickly too, that game last night with Alabama, if Florida beat LSU, that game last night is a way better game to watch, because there's actually, if Florida would have won last night and they didn't lose to LSU,
Notre Dame would be sitting at home.
Yeah, that would have been insane. I mean, that would have really shaken things up. But
okay, but then this goes back to our argument, because before Florida lost to LSU, I had Florida ahead of Texas A&M. So, and obviously people in here did not like that, and I could understand why. But I just did, because I thought they were the better football team at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, if they go on and let's say they didn't lose to LSU and they do beat Bama, and Notre Dame would be sitting at home, but it's not. I mean, you can't put Florida in, can you?
You have to. I mean, at that point, you have much better. That's obviously I've been saying all year that there's the win. You can't look at then Texas A&M losing by 28 to Alabama, Florida beating one of the best teams like in the country. A great
but that is Georgia. Why.
That's like 4 or 5 top 25 wins. Then there's the difference.
But then just going back to the old shows, that is why I had Florida ahead of them.
No, and I can understand that until Florida got that huge win, because that Georgia one was good, and then I think they might have had one other top 25 win. I'm not sure, and maybe 0, but then that's 2 huge wins, and I think that's more impressive.
I think they had one more ranked win, and that's when I was like, okay, I'm putting them.
Oh, was it Auburn?
They're not ranked.
No, it wasn't Auburn.
Well, at the time, right? Like, do they?
No,
I'm not counting those.
I'm sorry. That was A&M, because A&M had the win over Auburn, I believe.
A 6-4 off, whatever.
Yeah, and that was kind of the point.
Yeah, I think but honestly, I think we all kind of knew what the playoffs were going to be, no matter what the outcomes of the games were. But I think the most disappointing thing that the committee decided were the bowl games.
Oh,
I'm really glad since he's playing Georgia. I think that's a team they can match up with pretty decently. Because Georgia's going to have to throw it. And do you trust JT Daniels that much? Maybe, maybe not. What I don't understand is why is Indiana playing 5-5 Ole Miss? It makes no sense. That team got disrespected all year.
New Year's Six bowl.
Well, I mean, I read about this, and I'm sure it's true. First of all, don't they? Certain bowls they line up conferences with certain bowls, correct?
Yes.
That's why we have Iowa State and Oregon playing in the New Year's Six bowl, which makes
I was gonna say they do
Mm-hmm.
that, and the COVID things. Like I know that maybe it's probably too hard to keep track of all of them, but I guarantee a lot of schools opted out.
Yeah.
Like I know Pitt opted out. I know Boston College opted out, and that like 2 other ACC teams opted out too. And that's just one conference. So I mean, like when you said what a 2-8 South Carolina team's playing, like
that's what I was just about to say.
So they just had to. They got to throw stuff in there, and I get it's hard, and especially for Indiana. Like I see why Indiana should be playing someone, and I personally didn't know that the Bulls line up like with conferences like that. I did not know that until a couple of years ago.
Yeah, that's like the Rose Bowl is always like Big Ten, Pac-12, those type of things. And I don't love that, how that works. I think at this point in time, now that we have the playoff games, considering those are still considered bowl games, we got to get rid of conference alignments. Before, when there was only bowl games every year, and that's how we decided a conference, like a national champion, it made sense. But now at this point, let's get rid of it. It's ridiculous that a team like Coastal, who went undefeated, and honestly, it's just as good, if not a better resume than Cincinnati, is going to play at Liberty. So they beat Liberty, then they're in their same boat of, okay, you beat Liberty and went undefeated. You didn't.
Yeah, that's stupid. That's so bad.
That's so unfair to them. You go undefeated and your reward is facing 9-1 Liberty. So now even if they lose that game, it's like, okay, Coastal, your season was literally worthless. And if you win that game, it's still okay. You beat Liberty, who lost to Syracuse or NC. They lost to NC State. So it's like,
well, I think they just looked at it like, look, okay, congrats, you beat BYU, but like, we think Cincy would crush you, so Cincy's getting the better bid. That's what I think how they thought.
Yeah.
Is it fair? No. But I mean, whatever.
And you know what solves that? A 16-team playoff.
Yeah, I love that idea. Yeah.
It makes NFL.
I think that's too much.
NFL has half their teams making it. 14 of the 32 are not.
I know, but I feel like they would have to cut down the season.
And I'm fine with that. Who cares? Do we want to see Alabama facing FCS?
Seriously, like that to me, that's the only issue with it, because I seriously feel like those teams aren't like Bama's not going to really want to do that. They're still going to want to play that team, you know. And here's the thing too: it's good for those smaller schools.
Exactly.
Yeah, because they get money. They make money off that.
Yeah. So I understand that side of it, why they wouldn't want to do it. Maybe 8 teams. I don't know. But even 8.
I said 8. I said 8.
But my thing is with 8 still doesn't solve the problem, because you know who's still on the outside? Cincinnati. They finished 9th.
Yeah.
Okay, but
UCF undefeated.
But I feel like with 8 teams, someone like one of those teams are getting in. Like you can't overlook that with 8 teams, an undefeated team. I don't think you can. With this stuff, they're like, hey, all the rankings after 4 don't matter right now because they all are getting bowl aligned anyway.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, with 8 teams, if they have the committee sit down, I'd imagine that Cincinnati would have like a 95% chance of getting in that 18 playoff. Coastal, I don't know, but Cincinnati, yes, they would get in.
Yeah, I think. Well, here's my question, you Drew. So you would want it to be like 1 versus 16?
Yes.
I don't think that's.
But let me explain this, because then I say that first round is just home games then. So then those teams, they don't lose that revenue, like of an Ohio State, say they start complaining, oh, we're losing that home game revenue. Well, now you're getting that back in a playoff game, which is better TV revenue for your entire conference. You're getting a huge game for like a 16 seed. A 16 seed could literally be any team. And maybe more upsets start happening. And we get better games between like an 8-9. We get those fun ones.
Hypothetically, what would it be this year? It'd be 1 Alabama versus who's 16?
Like a Miami type team. They're 18, but something like that.
I don't think you could do it. That's too much. Like football, like that's a gauntlet for football. Like, you know what I mean? Like anybody can get lucky like that certain day. I think you got to keep it with 8.
That's
I think you got to
perfect.
go in half.
Alabama would be facing Iowa. No, sorry. Alabama would be facing BYU. So
okay, wait. Who would like? All right. So who would Notre Dame be playing?
Notre Dame would be facing UNC, which we already saw and was a pretty decent game. And you're trying to say UNC couldn't win that game?
The 116, those are like, but I think when you start getting like 8 versus 9, like that would be.
But then what's the difference of Alabama beating Notre Dame by 30 anyways?
I think if you're doing 16, you got to have 2 bye. I think you got to have bye weeks.
I'm fine with that as well. We could work it.
And I think you have to, and I think you would literally have to align it like how the NFL aligns theirs. Like, I don't think you could, you know what I'm saying right now? Like, I don't think you can have them all on one side of the bracket. Like, like, I just don't think you could do that. But
my only thing with the bye, which I
almost. Are you almost saying like a 1 through 8 on one side and a 1 through 8 on the other?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Yes, that is exactly what I'm saying.
I'd like that, yeah.
I think that's the only way you could do it.
My only thought with a bye would be
with 16.
So wait, how would you work the bye-in? So 14-team playoff, something like that, with a bye.
What's the NFL? Is the NFL
14 teams
now?
and 14 teams and 1 seeds get buys.
Yeah, I would do it just like the NFL right now. But I like I said, I know this would cause a whole nother controversy. But I would
getting
divide
the buys. That's what I was just gonna say, because Ohio State can then complain, well, we went undefeated. Why aren't we getting a bye instead? But
okay. But the whole this year, we can't talk about complaining this year just because of COVID. Yeah. Like if we play a full season, there's comes down to points where you can only argue so much.
But then let's compare it to then last year. So the 1 seed last year would have been LSU. The 2 seed then would have been Ohio State. The 3 seed would have been Clemson. Those are all undefeated programs. Leaving a bye between one of the 3 undefeated teams is a tough choice.
So then it's strength of schedule. It has to be strength of schedule.
And I hate strength of schedule and eye tests because it leaves so much up to just opinion.
Well, but the NFL does it. How does the NFL do it? The NFL does strength of schedule.
I mean, that's their 10th tiebreaker.
Yeah, but it's a tiebreaker.
I mean, but it's not. I mean, it's that's the only deciding factor this year is your eye test. I don't like bringing eye testing.
And the other reason why they will never do 16 teams is because that gets rid of. The way you brought it up, yes, it does. I mean, they could change it, but that gets rid of bowl games and that loses money.
Yeah.
But then there's still all the bowl games.
Yeah, but you said you wanted to do them so you want them to play 16-game playoff and then have bowl games?
All the other teams just have their little bowl games.
I know, but then what are you gonna do with all the major bowls?
Well, I mean, couldn't you just do?
Just name them.
It's a bowl game,
I mean, but you could, but the way Drew said it, how they get their home revenue in, you can't.
Well, you just make them later. The bowl, the New Year's Six bowl, are last couple games.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
But then, but here's where I'm gonna pause you again, just because I'm thinking, because I had a class about this, literally. So, like you said, you're bringing in your revenue and stuff. But the teams that lose early, now they don't have a bowl game.
But they got that extra home game or away game, and probably making that playoff would make you a lot of TV revenue because there'd be so much push for it.
Yeah, but the schools, when you make a bowl game, you get paid. The schools get paid that bonus. So if they have a home game like that, they're not going to get paid that, but it's just going to be another a big home game.
Well, it'd probably be the team gets the big home game revenue, and then say maybe you split that TV revenue for that type of game. I don't know how you would do it. There'd be some sort of logistical way to make it better. But say when a team makes the playoffs, their entire conference splits up $6 million.
Yeah.
Or is it $3 million? I think that's what it is. $3 million. So the ACC, I think it's $3 million. So each team gets $300,000. $300,000 in college football is the difference between hiring a good offensive coordinator and a great offensive coordinator, redesigning a gym, things like that.
Cash this year, boy.
Yeah,
seriously.
That's what I like to hear.
Yeah, ACC. I mean, Pitt got $600,000 this year just for 2 teams making the playoffs. That's huge.
That is huge, and we got our ass kicked by both of them.
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett's back though, baby.
Well, so Division I FCS, they do the 16 teams, right?
Yes, and they play an 11-game regular season.
Yeah. See, I mean, it's definitely doable, but
Because at 16, every single team in FBS football has a shot at making the playoffs. Right now, there is, at the beginning of the season, maybe 10 teams. Max.
Listen,
And
no
that's
matter what you do, there is going to be controversy.
But there's a lot less controversy with 16
especially if you're
teams.
that 17th team.
I think it shuts a lot of people up though when you have more teams, because you have like where Florida was pissed and Texas A&M wasn't very happy. So it's like you have
Okay, but Florida can't be pissed. Like they cannot be pissed.
3 losses.
Florida cannot be
When they
pissed.
lost
Yeah, they have
LSU,
3 losses.
Yeah.
And
But
and
still,
two lost teams can't be pissed either. The only person that has the right to be pissed, in my opinion, with the playoff side is Texas A&M. Cincy, I'll give them a little bit. I'll give that. No, I won't even give them a lot.
From a player's perspective, you went undefeated, you think you should be in.
Yeah, you think they can go be big? You think they can go be big?
I honestly think they probably get crushed by Georgia, but they deserve a shot at winning a championship. You go undefeated, you should have a shot at winning a championship. But then, like what you said, the argument for A&M and Cincy is much stronger for making like that 4th spot than a USC for making the 16th spot.
Yeah, true. But
USC
the other thing
Miami.
I'm gonna just to go back to Cincy. I mean, if a team if we know a big name team, I know this is just hypothetical thinking, but you have a big name team like a Texas A&M or someone like that, and they played their schedule and go undefeated, we're bashing them right now. Like that's just how it is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I get it. Like Cincinnati, it's undefeated, and undefeated you can't argue a lot about against. But it's just the fact that they do you happen to know who Cincinnati's out of conference games were this year?
I think they only played one, and I think it was Austin Peay, just because they were the only team that could
play.
No.
I'm saying if COVID was not
I don't know, but this is a good scenario for next year. Cincinnati's going to be bringing back a lot of that roster. Next year, they have Notre Dame and Indiana out of conference. They win those 2 games, you cannot leave them out. There's no excuse to leave them out.
Well, yeah, and I heard this today on the playoff show. They were talking about Houston.
Yes, that was what I bring
when they beat Notre Dame and they beat Louisville that year, but then did they lose in the conference?
They lost like a random game or like in like week 10 or whatever.
Yeah, so it was like those were those 2 big wins that they had, and it was like that's the only, and that's what I'm saying. Like next year, Cincinnati, they have those 2 games. Even if they win one of those, you're in consideration, I feel.
Yeah, if Cincinnati goes 11-1 next year with, say, a win over Notre Dame, they better be in the 12-1 with the conference championship, of course. They better have some talk behind them of they deserve the respect then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean think if they do that,
it boils down to too, just like how much you place like on SEC schedules and Big Ten schedules and ACC schedules, because like that's ultimately like what it comes down to, is like how much you think those conferences are better than the non-Power 5 conferences. So it'll be, Cincinnati will at least have the best case next year. That if they get left out next year, there's got to be some change then. If they go undefeated again, you can't leave them out. I mean, that's just undefeated and undefeated again. But one last thing, Earlier, I think like I'd always like bash like the non-Power 5 schools and stuff, but like I don't know. I think there's just something to be said like when like a 2-8 South Carolina like is getting more like you're like, oh well, they're in the SEC, but it's like Cincinnati goes undefeated. Like I don't know.
Yeah, but like the reason why I can't.
I get
can't back it. Is because like look at who South Carolina plays. Like
right.
I mean, it's just
and I get that.
And
totally
South Carolina sucks. Like I mean, like so I get why they shouldn't be deserving things, but they're probably like, all right, you look at South Carolina, they're 2-8. You put them in their like bad conference, they're 6-5. I mean, that's probably how they think.
And I think the same thing goes too if you said, well, let's throw Cincinnati in that SEC conference.
Yeah.
I want to make it clear, though,
that bad.
South Carolina would not go 6-5. They are ridiculously awful. One of the worst teams ever.
How did they get a bowl
Or
game?
like and even like Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt wins a couple games. They beat the Tulanes of the world and the ECUs, things like that.
So, but I'm okay. So, like, if you realistically, because I know, like, we talked about this earlier, like Cincinnati plays Texas A&M schedule. You think Cincinnati still playing in the SEC could go what, like, have maybe 2 losses?
I think if they played Texas A&M schedule, I think at the worst they're still 7-2. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They lose to Alabama still, and then they might lose to an Auburn, maybe. But Auburn wasn't that great this year, so I think they could
No.
beat everyone else. So there's that. That's probably about it for college football. Anyone else got anything? No. All right.
Hey, basketball starts this week.
That's what I was just about to say. Just before, I don't think we'll have another show before NBA starts. Who do you guys like this year? I'm gonna just say Lakers are probably gonna win it again. Sucks.
Yeah. I'm not. You know me. I'm not like the biggest basketball guy. I've only been into it the last couple years, but I just love LeBron. So if it Lakers, yeah.
I love the NBA. I think Lakers again too, but just to throw some things out there, I think number one, we all just Drew hates LeBron, but I think number one, we just gotta all enjoy this year because I think after this year, he's human, and I think this is when the decline starts. So I think we should all sit back and admire his greatness, like one last time at his peak, just admire it, because after this year,
I don't know.
listen,
he's shown
you're
no
gonna
signs of slowing.
Oh,
that's what I'm saying. Like,
that's why I'm saying this is when it's going to start, because watch, they're going to start sitting him more. He's going to sit a lot more this year.
But why not? They're going to blow everyone out.
His team is loaded. Don't sleep on the Clippers. Do not sleep on the Clips.
How about the Nets?
The Nets, I think the Nets should get. I think the Nets should run the East. I take that back. I forgot Giannis is still there. I think it should be Nets and Bucks in a conference final.
Don't forget the Heat.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what about the Heat?
I don't know, man. I think that was a little like flukish, but
they have a lot of talent, and I think they're really young, and they should get better. So I do agree it was a little flukish. Better.
Yeah, I think it was flukish. I mean, all the dominoes fell right, and they did beat the Bucks, but I don't know. I mean, I think a sleeper pickup for the Bucks is they got Drew Holiday, correct?
Yeah, and they killed their entire future for that.
I love Drew Holiday, so I think he's a great player, and I think he's going to fit in well. And then you look on the West. I mean, going to be excited. Just had my fantasy draft. I picked Zion. I'm going to be excited to see what he does this year, fully healthy.
Love Zion.
No minute restriction. So I'm going to be a big Zion fan. Unfortunately, you got those bastards who we hate in Cali. You got the Warriors. Curry's back. That was my pick, unfortunately. My first round pick, I took Curry.
I hate the Warriors, but Curry is maybe the most fun player to watch of all time.
Yeah, and so I mean, you got him back. It's gonna be fun, and the NBA is NBA is fun to watch.
I was gonna say I love the NBA too from my perspective because I don't really like any teams, and I'm just kind of like just gonna watch some really amazing top tier athletes compete.
Oh, dude, definitely. Like you can sit down middle of the season, and they got those primetime games on.
Yeah,
and you can catch some really good games. Like just sit there and watch
even
them.
Those like Friday night games. Those are fun.
Those are I mean, you're starting. It's gonna be a weird season. Lot going on with COVID. I mean, I think they are playing in their arenas, right?
Yeah, with like very very limited fans.
I was gonna say. And family. So I mean, teams. I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens when teams do catch it, and all the other stuff that's going into it. But I hope it works. And college basketball is crazy, by the way. I'm not a big college basketball fan.
There was a big upset today, I believe.
Yeah, Michigan State lost.
They got smacked too. Thoroughly dominated.
So I said it in the chat. I said, Pitt beat Northwestern, and Northwestern just beat number 4 Michigan State. So is Pitt the 4th best team in the country? I don't know. You tell me.
Maybe.
You didn't
Hey,
say it,
well,
but like someone maybe just you heard
listen,
it.
man. Hey, you just don't look at their first loss of the season, and like no one has to know about who they lost to the first game. We'll all just forget about that one.
I mean,
That,
I know you guys are gonna make fun of me for this, but Xavier's legit. They are
Dude, I don't know
good.
anything about, so I'm not even gonna comment.
Did
yeah,
you guys see that
Xavier's
buzzer
always
beater at
good. So
least?
like, I can't even argue, and I don't hate Xavier. I just make fun of Drew when they lose. So
It's horrible. Like and literally, none of you guys know anything about college basketball or even care about it. And then Xavier will like
I
lose
care
a
about
random
Hey,
Pitt.
I
Tuesday
care
night
about
game.
March. I care
March
about
Madness,
March
of course.
Madness. That's it.
Speaking of college basketball, Drew, I mean, you can answer this because Luke apparently doesn't know. I looked at Pitt's schedule. They got Louisville coming up on Tuesday, and then
Beatable.
they have a week off, and they
Really?
play like every Tuesday because
I
they
think
played last Tuesday. They played Miami Tuesday, then they play this Tuesday, and then they don't play. I think they play Duke the next Tuesday.
I don't know how that's working, but I'm gonna let you know. All those teams are very beatable for Pitt. Duke
Listen,
is
if they win
down,
that, they're
Yeah.
7. I think if they win that, they're 7-1. So
but Xavier had the most insane game today. I mean, they were kind of in control of the whole game. Then they gave up an and 1-3 to let it get tied back up with 20 seconds. Missed a little game winner. Then we fire up a 30-footer fadeaway to win it. I was literally losing my mind. So
who's
exciting.
winning it all, Drew? Who's winning it all?
Gonzaga. I will tell you right now, the way I will pick my bracket is I will put Gonzaga in the championship winning it, probably by 10 points, and then fill everyone else out. Baylor's also really good too. And I think Iowa, they got beat up by Gonzaga, is really good still. It's Gonzaga is so good. They are the
What's
best
his name?
college basketball
Garza?
team. Who?
Luke Garza, isn't that him?
That's the Iowa guy. He is awesome.
I know.
I think
a
for
little
the
bit
first
about
time in a while, I think this is the first time in a while the ACC's kind of down this year, honestly.
Yeah, but I think college basketball is down in general.
Yeah,
there's a lot
that's
of
true,
not
too.
great teams.
Yeah.
And
Not
I think it's
having
also
March
Gonzaga's
Madness,
amazing.
not having March Madness, I think, threw a lot of stuff off too.
Yeah.
It's like what? So it's Virginia was the last champion then, technically, right?
Yes, they're still defending champions.
Man,
Dude,
go
I
back to back.
I talked about this before. I don't even know if it was on show or not, but especially this year seems like the same way, but last year I had no clue how the hell I was going to pick my bracket, because usually you have like those teams like that you just know, and like there's good ones, and then like, oh, these guys can beat them, these guys can beat them. Last year was just nuts, and I had no clue like what was going to happen.
But this year I'm going to be like, I'll tell anyone now, even if Gonzaga loses early, there's the only correct pick is Gonzaga winning the championship. If you pick anyone else, you're just trying to be a contrarian for no reason. They are unreal. Jalen Suggs.
That noted.
Jalen Suggs is the best player in college basketball.
Didn't they just have a freshman score like 27?
Every game. I mean, their entire roster can put up 30. Sorry, actually, I want to take that back. Luka Garza is the best player in college basketball by a lot, but Jalen Suggs is the best pro prospect. He is awesome. Like, everyone wants Cade Cunningham. Cade Cunningham's going to go number 1. I would want Jalen Suggs. If Jalen Suggs even falls to the Cavs, I'll take a 4th point guard. He's that good. Yeah. And like you guys were talking about earlier, I never said it was you guys like were just excited for good basketball. As someone who is a fan of a team, it sucks. The Cavs are going.
I'm a Cavs fan.
You care?
Like
you would rather LeBron win a championship this year than the Cavs, though.
Yeah, right now, yeah. I mean, I love LeBron. Okay, but like, because this would not happen. Here's the thing: like, if you had Lakers and Cavs in the championship, oh man, like against LeBron. Oh God, I mean, I'd probably cheer for the Cavs.
I don't think I could root for the Cavs any harder if they were facing LeBron in the finals.
I would cheer for the Cavs, even though I love LeBron. I would cheer for the Cavs, but I mean, LeBron delivered on his promise, and then I'll never forget that. So he can do whatever the hell he wants, and I'll be cheering for him.
Again, I always want to like clarify my LeBron hate with the second he retires, there should be a statue of him outside of the Rock or whatever it's called now.
There should be one right now. Are you kidding me? They should have never took down that banner. They should keep that up.
Yeah.
They got a cool banner up there now, though. They got a new one this year. It's like a championship.
Yeah, I saw it. Wasn't it like someone said, "Is that J.R. Smith's hand with the ring?"
That'd be funny. But that's everything for sports. I mean, Tiger Woods and his kid, that was pretty cool.
That was sick, dude.
Maybe a new golf.
That is.
Maybe a new golf podcast on the lake coming soon. Maybe that's just a little
Don't
teaser.
listen to it.
But I don't think anything else, right?
I'm good.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in. If you made it this far, another episode probably coming out this week. We're gonna try to be a little more consistent. So tune in for that whenever it is. We'll try to start making like actual dates and being like a Monday show and a whenever show. But for now, you get what you get. Don't throw a fit. Thank you guys for watching, and peace out.